Costco is expanding across Wisconsin with 2 new locations planned for the area. Joining us this afternoon, Andrew Weiland from our partners at Biz Times. Thanks for joining us, Andrew. Let's talk about Franklin first in Milwaukee County, the first for Milwaukee County potentially?
Correct. And we just found out about this yesterday. You know, it's interesting. If you look at where Costco is currently located, they're essentially drawing a circle around Milwaukee. They have a Grafton location, they have a Menominee Falls, Pewaukee, New Berlin. And recently we heard about Oconomowoc. I'm sure we're going to talk more about that. And now we just found out yesterday there appear to be plans developing in Franklin. There were some city documents about a traffic study in the area where the Northwestern Mutual campus is there along 27th Street. And that traffic study is for a Costco planned in that area.
All right, let's talk about that Oconomowoc location, possibly the largest Costco in the state of Wisconsin, but still a lot of planning before it's a reality.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing based on the plans that are coming forward. There was a plan commission meeting yesterday, so this project is going through the approval process. It's planned for the Pabst Farms area in Oconomowoc, right off of I-94 there. And yeah, it's moving through the approvals process, gained some approvals yesterday, and I know there's a lot of excitement. Certainly judging from our website activity, there's a lot of excitement for that store.
All right, we want to talk about that new hotel plan in the Deer District. A Common Council committee meeting this week delayed a potential vote on that project. And looking at that meeting, got pretty contentious between the developers and the alders on the board.
Yeah, this is an interesting controversy. I mean, seemingly innocuous project. It's a 7-story hotel planned in the Deer District. What could be a problem with that? The problem is apparently, well, one of the big things that the city officials are concerned about is they feel this should be a much larger hotel. 7-story, 156 rooms is what's currently planned. I know the downtown alderman is saying it should be twice the size of that. The problem is, how do city officials know how big a hotel should be? You know, this is something that should really be private sector driven. And quite frankly, what you're seeing right now in the downtown hotel market is some issues. Look at the Hilton Hotel, for example, owned by Marcus, and Marcus is the biggest hotel operator in Milwaukee. They are closing 175 rooms over there. They're remodeling the rest of the hotel, but they're closing a lot of rooms. There are several hotels downtown that have gone through bankruptcy recently. So, you know, it's hard. It's a risk to open any new business. It's a risk to open a new hotel. To have city officials say, well, you know, this is such a great site, we expect a bigger hotel, we expect you to take on a bigger risk. It's hard to understand how can city government really do that. Now, the city, of course, and the state and the county invested a lot of money to create the Deer District, to build Fiserv Forum. So they feel like taxpayers have some skin in the game here and they have some expectations for what's going to be developed. But still, you know, would it be nice to have a bigger hotel? Yeah, of course it would be. But there's only so much that the market can support.
And there was another, during that meeting, another project mentioned, one for a residential building proposed in the same area. Is that part of the roadblock, do you think?
No. What we're talking about is where the Bradley Center used to be. So this is immediately south of Fiserv Forum. This is where there's a smaller concert venue being built. And that's also the same block where this hotel would be. And also on that block, we're learning that there are preliminary plans for a 14-story residential building there. And of course, there's an apartment development also planned northeast of Fiserv Forum, also in the Deer District. So it's just one more piece of the puzzle of the Deer District coming together. And it would be great for that area to support everything that's there, but that's not part of the hotel controversy.
With the hotel controversy, we're going to have to wait and see how this continues to play out.
Yeah, and the other angle on the hotel thing is the same group that's working on this project is the one that built the Trade north of Fiserv Forum, and there was controversy there with the hospitality workers union, not trying to come in there and getting pushback from the company. So they're concerned that this company is doing this other hotel, and they're objecting to that. Does that have anything to do with the pushback from Common Council? You know, I don't know, but it doesn't look good. And these are things that really have nothing to do with zoning, which is what the Common Council should be concerned with. There's a National Labor Relations Board to deal with labor issues.
All right, I have to leave it there. Always great to talk business headlines with you, Andrew. This will continue to develop, and we will check in with you as it does.